Alright, so we're going to start working on solving equations, and this I just chose to be one of the more difficult type ones that you have on this example. You can refer back to previous weeks to get help with the other ones. So we're going to start out by identifying which ones have variables and which ones are constants, which means they don't have variables. So I always put anything that has a variable in a box, and anything that is just a constant in a circle or a bubble. Now, this is something that you don't have to do if you understand how to separate them on your own. Otherwise, I do suggest doing this just to kind of get the hang of it, to keep you in that mindset. So I'm going to identify my constants. So I have -8, that's going to get a circle. I have -4t, that has a variable, so that's going to get a box. On the other side of the equal sign, I have -1t, which is a variable, so that gets a box, and -5t, which has a variable, so that gets a box. Please, please, please remember to keep the signs in your pieces. So whatever information is behind the sign, that's where the sign goes. Now, as we look at this, we know that we need to combine like terms on the same side of the equal sign first. So on our first side, we have a circle and a square, so we cannot combine them. On the other side, we have two squares, so we need to combine them. When I say combine, that means do exactly what it tells you to do. So -1t minus 5t. If you were to exclude the t's when doing this math, you would get -6. And then just replace the t. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite my equation. So -8, keep that in a bubble, -4t, keep that in a box, equals, and then what I got when I combined my like terms on my one side is -6t. And that needs to stay in a box because it still has a variable. Now, imagine behind here, since there is no constant on your right side, that it's +0 in the back. So just keep that in your imagination. Add that in there if you need to, just to help you with the solving process, and that would get a circle. So I normally take my boxes or my variables to the left just for, consistency. So we can take them or move them by doing the inverse operation. So whatever the opposite of -6t is. So the opposite of -6t is to add 6t to both boxes. So you cancel the original box out, and we're going to start rewriting what we already have. So I'm going to bring down my -8, keep that in a bubble. Now I'm going to do the math here, and it's still going to stay in a box. So this is the same as saying -4 plus 6. When I do -4 plus 6, I get +2. So this is going to be +2t. Oops, wrong color. +2t. Put the equal sign, and then on the other side, since the original box canceled out, we're just going to leave that as the 0. So take that as a placeholder. If you forget that part, just know that you're still going to be moving your other constant over to the other side using the inverse here in just a second. So we're going to go ahead and move this other constant, so our -8, the one that does not have a variable, to the other side using the inverse, which means -8, the opposite of that, or the inverse, is +8. So you're going to add 8 on both sides. The original one cancels out, so we're going to bring down 2t. Since nothing's in front of it, you can lose the plus sign, equals, and then 0 plus 8 is 8. If I was to put these back in boxes and circles, we would see that we have one of each on each side, which is exactly what we want, so we can do our final and my personally favorite step to solve this equation. The last step here is to divide by whatever number is in front of your variable. If there's a sign there, include the sign. So we're going to divide by 2 on both sides here. So the 2 in front of the t cancels out, and we are left with t equals, and then 8 divided by 4, 8 divided by 2 gives us 4. So T equals 4. When putting this answer in on Google Classroom, it's easiest just to enter the number, which would be 4. If there is a negative, be mindful of that. The keyword for this example is duck. D-U-C-K, duck. Hope this helps.